I 33 male and my wife 32 female have been married 4 years. We'd already been through some issues and done a year of marriage counseling in 2017. However, things were picking up and we got a house in 2018 and also had our first child. Late last year, my friend Greg needed a place to stay or would be homeless. So we let him rent out our spare bedroom. He's been in and out of jobs, but always good about pitching in, doing some chores, buying us groceries, etc. In the last few months, I felt things getting more distant between me and my wife. That, along with work pressure, bills, house projects, our baby and now quarantine all exploded on Easter Sunday when she told me while sitting in bed that she wasn't in love with me anymore. I didn't make her happy. She didn't know if we'd work out. I was stunned, sick to my stomach. I think we both cried all night. The next few days she refused to barely look at me, much less hug me or anything. Usually our fights or issues would resolve in a day or two, but this just wasn't getting any better. I decided to ask Greg to move out, as each day we'd had arguments and it was hell with us all three quarantined together. Me trying to work from home in the middle of it. Then on Thursday of that week, after seeing her therapist, she tells me on the phone that she's suicidal and checks into a mental hospital. I take care of our kiddo, bills, managed to clean the house up after our roommate moved out, basically juggled it all until she was released to come back home. When she gets back, I notice nothing is better around me. Snippy, dismissive, unloving. But I'll hear her talking to several guy friends on the phone where she sounds flirty and funny. She made a guy friend while in the mental hospital, and one conversation I overheard involved them joking about handjobs. I asked her about this and she said he was just her support partner. I told her that I wished I was her support and she didn't say anything. She was going to hang out with this man on a walk but decided not to when I said that it seemed weird, which I was thankful for. Still, her odd behavior continued. She then seemed to talk to our old roommate Greg daily, and she'd duck out to the bathroom with the fan on to do so one time even. Also, she wrote in her diary constantly. So, I peeked at it while she was gone one day. And the newest entry was a 2-page diatribe about her undying love for Greg, about how much she wanted him, blah blah. I texted a mutual friend of Greg and mine's about it because I was so shocked. He suggested I confront Greg. So I texted Greg, "Did you ever do anything inappropriate with my wife?" He actually had the balls to call me and said that I had been working too much. I was out of shape, a bad husband, and that yes, they kissed but didn't have sex. Later that night I confronted my wife and asked her if it was true. She said it was and we both just kinda sat there. I told her I had a hunch something was up, but didn't admit to reading her diary. Then a few days later, she asks if I'd read it. I shook my head no but didn't say anything. She then says she knows I did because she went through my phone and saw my texts with my friend. We both flipped out on each other and she left to go to her friend's house. That was a week ago, and now we're back in marriage counseling. Every day is ice cold. I'm willing to reconcile but feel like a chump since she seems quite happy just doing her own thing now. What do I do? I 39 male found my wife's 36 female hot love letters from previous relationship, and I can't deal. Looking for some neutral advice on my admittedly not exactly emergency situation. But it's affecting my life a lot more than I thought it would. Certainly a lot more than it should, and I won't be surprised to be called a whingy twat who should just man up a bit. Anyway, here goes. Happily married, regional UK, arriving at midlife. Lovely wife. Absolutely love her, together over 10 years. Married too. She too is very loving back. There's just always been something Spock-like about her that I can never figure out, as if there's some core her that I'll never get to see. Big deal. Her backstory isn't too far from mine. Major relationship in late teens, early 20s. I had one major one, then two, then one more. Then we both dated around for a few more years before meeting each other, and yay. She always said that she had no mementos of her own big relationship. Nothing survived to show. Anyway, now, midlife crisis starting to set in. Feeling the passing of time very keenly all of a sudden. I'm very conscious of the fact that our youth time is pretty much over and our sex life, while by no means dead, has settled into a very predictable and non-spontaneous pattern where it's pretty much me just waiting for her to be in the mood. I'm always in the mood, mainly because I miss being younger and getting that spark of erotic let's just do it in the road magic that seems to be gone now for good. So it's her leading things, if it happens, and me just waiting for it to happen, because getting turned down is just so undignified. For example, as we're currently working from home, if I try to suggest something frisky I get this almost pitying look that's so humiliating it's just not worth risking. So far, so standard midlife. Coinciding with this, though, is that recently while I was tearing the house apart looking for something I lost in a house move, I came across a small case which I opened. Lo and behold, there's a stash of photos of her lost relationship and a cache of letters. Okay, so this is where I crossed the line and am a dick. But this was all supposedly lost long ago and I can't help but read a couple of letters. Big mistake. This is mostly long-distance porn. Up, down, sideways, back to front. All pretty well written by the boyfriend, who is clearly detailing all their real-world experiences together in excruciating anatomical detail. I'm in the same rooms, behind the same bars on break, upstairs, downstairs, watching as the sex toys are used, goggling at the enthusiasm. I'm recognizing my wife all too painfully and closely, but I'm not recognizing what we have between us now. Something she won't do with me is described fully here in almost poetical style. That stings. Even the descriptions of how she looks at key moments are captured eloquently, and it's all I can think about now at those same key moments. And those letters are still there in the case, sitting a couple of feet from our own bed, and I can't say anything. Basically, I played with fire and got burned. When you meet someone, that person is a product of their life up to that moment, and so are you. That's who you fall for. I've had a life too, and I don't expect sympathy for poking my nose in, even if I didn't intentionally go looking. But all I can think about now is that comparison, and how this guy has now had the last laugh on me. So, am I stuck with my own problem to work out? Is there any upside at all to bringing it out into the open? I'll just come across as the classic insecure, nosy partner who couldn't just appreciate what he had and leave the flip alone. Edit, a bit more info. They broke up because he cheated repeatedly. Apparently. So not just a once-off. Why would you keep charged erotica from someone who did you dirty like that? Also, it was an odd one from the start. She was just 18, and he was 30 and had a failed marriage behind him when they met. I've always found that creepy AF. Update, thanks for all the input even from the alpha, beta and cell lunatics, but especially to the empathetic folks who made more of the power imbalance from the old relationship than I had been making. Things seem a bit clearer through that prism. To clarify though, for those concerned about abuse and trauma, she's a strong independent woman who's very happy in who she is. And I think she looks back on that time with a lot of good memories, but also with an older person's perspective on it now too, that there was a component of God I was taken advantage of at the same time, all right. And she wouldn't want it for her own daughter. Hidden letters versus not hidden. They definitely weren't consciously hidden away, just lying in a corner, the way you would do with personal stuff, but having shared a room with someone for years. So in summary, I might bring it up if the atmosphere is light enough sometime, but only in a clear the air kind of way. Certainly not for my own insecurities' sake. Sex life is still great fun, just no swinging from chandeliers, and anal is overrated. To those poor guys who insist on the pining for the alpha, settled for the beta interpretation, I hope you actually meet real, confident women soon.